Okay, today I want to talk to you about my favorite way to get a garden ready for direct seeding and even for transplanting, but definitely for direct seeding, and that is the chicken tractor. In the first world, you can easily buy like electric movable fencing, and that's a good idea with a solar charger. But here we can't get that, so we've just bought like a $16 roll of wire. It's 30 meters by 90 meters tall, and we actually made our own stakes, and I'll show you that. And the idea is put the chickens or the ducks, if you're in a wetter climate, or even the turkeys, in a small enough area that through scratching and picking and pooing on it, they're going to clear it of grasses and weeds and eat those seeds and stuff like that, and manure on there, so that it's fertile and clear of weeds and ready to plant after 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks. We had a group here for a course, and we had the chickens on half of this roundabout, the inside here. We just threw some seeds out, some bok choy, some arugula. We transplanted some kale in there, and have a look, it's thriving. So in New Zealand, where I first did this, we were living on the side of a river that had like 4 meter deep topsoil. It was luscious, such a treat. And I did a trial of just sheet mulching out with black plastic the grass, and then transplanting tomatoes into it, or beside that with some chickens and the chicken tractor system. They cleared it all for 6 weeks, and then I planted the tomatoes in there too. The results were astounding. Where the chicken tractor had prepared gave like twice the production of tomatoes. Not only are they making compost for us if we give them extra grass, the alfalfa, and they're scratching it around and moving the earth, and they're turning compost for us. And you can integrate like a chicken tractor on steroids by building an aerobic compost system in there, and I recommend looking at Billy from Permaculture Farms for that. But in our instance, we have so much competition for organic matter that we just feed the chickens generously with grated vegetables from the farm and the grasses and a little bit of grain that we buy in, but mostly it's stuff from the farm.
Come on, girls. Oh, yes.
And they're preparing the garden beds for us, and we're just moving them bit by bit and planting behind them. Let's go for a little walk and have a look at some of the areas and some of the differences between where they've been and where they haven't. So this ground, by contrast, we actually double dug it to prepare it by hand to use as a seed bed. Look, all the grasses have come back in, and we really spent quite a few hours doing it. The ground's so hard, the weed seeds persisted. So instead of wasting all that time, just get those chickens on it, let them tractor away. We have an upcoming online course, so for those that are interested to learn about holistic living, you're welcome to come visit us in Bolivia. We'll put the link to that below. And if you're interested in taking some online classes with us, feel free to pre-subscribe. Yeah, so if we look closely here, the chickens were put on at the same time as we seeded these ones. There's just a little bit of weed left, but mostly the ground is clear. And any extra alfalfa that we've put, the stalky bits, they're turning over, they're picking. They love moving it and getting the bacteria from the composting process here. We could plant this next week if we wanted. So I'd recommend like dividing up your zone 1 garden into like 3 areas, and having one with the chickens on it always, one that's recently been planted, and one that's in production. And if you just keep rotating like that, you'll close the fertility loop and always have a booming zone 1 garden. The difference between here, just teeming with life, plants that have volunteered, different kinds of squash, a chocha, and even eggplant in there, and just next to it, the chicken tractors were here. If you get the fertility right, and then you get some humidity, life's just going to start abounding. So it used to take a couple of volunteers all morning to move the wooden posts and then tie the wire to it so that the chickens couldn't escape and they were directed for a while. And now we just took some rebar, made a foot, welded on a little bottom hook, a middle hook pointing up, and another one pointing up, and we can now do this just in 20 minutes with one person really. we also have turkeys doing the turkey tractor thing. The thing I like about the turkeys is that other than looking pretty strange and making some funny noises, is that they primarily eat just the alfalfa, so we don't have to buy any feed for them, and they have quite a high value as a meat bird. We haven't eaten any, but every now and then we sell them. We also have ducks. In a wetter climate like you have in Hawaii, subtropical, the ducks might even perform better than the chickens, so depending on your environment. So in an area where it's full sun, or maybe you're only there on the weekends, it's a good idea to put a mulch over the top. The seeds keep them moist and protect them from the sun, keep the humidity for longer. So I'm just going to reseed again. This part failed because it hasn't been watered often enough and it didn't have a mulch.
And the turkeys came and ate a bunch of the...
Yeah, and the turkeys helped themselves. So I'll give it a little break. It would be great to have a lot of parsley. There's a video I recommend from John Dye, how to buy land without any money. We'll make one like that soon. But basically he went to the market and saw what people ate regularly that could be like a perennial or a crop that you could harvest regularly, and that's what he would eat, and he'd also have daily income. So parsley is one of those things for us here. I've just done this, spread the seeds out. I might have to thin those plants when they come up so they have the correct spacing. If you plant like a lettuce or something like that, you could eat the baby ones or transplant them somewhere else and leave enough space for some to grow to their full size later. Just gave it a light rake to have the seeds get covered by a bit of dirt, and then I'm going to actually use the mulch that the chickens have left from the alfalfa. You want to make sure you use a mulch that doesn't have weed seeds in it, because you want to grow what you want to grow and not the rest. So just a light cover. Ow, ow, ow. Some spines in there. It's light so that there's some light that goes through, and we're not going to need to water it as often, and nor will they dry out if we forget for one day. Give it a really good water.
So when chickens are cared for and guided well, they can be really useful in many ways besides just for meat and eggs. It can make the soil super fertile. So we hope you guys can use these tips and start your own chicken tractor. And we'll see you guys in the next video.